welcome to Last of the Romans, USC, and Oregon. I probably shouldn't have picked a team that I don't really know how to say the name of, because I've definitely never been there. I don't know if it's pronounced Oregon or another way. Uh, I'm just gonna continue calling it what I'm calling it, and hopefully that's what the people of that area call that. Yeah, so I had to stop well, okay, so what happened was I recorded a number of videos, for the Texas Notre Dame Dynasty, and, I thought that I was going to be unable to, post them, so I, kind of messed around with the commentary, and, yeah, I could probably go back and just like take out all the commentary, but seems like it would take a while. So, well, it just, then it would just be a blank video, and there's like I get like maybe 10 views, and then maybe one of those 10 watches it for more than like 15 seconds. So I'm not worried about, anything. So, yeah, let's, you know, I guess, what I could do is, go over the recruiting and, explain how I, go through the process of recruiting. So, the first thing that I did, uh, was go to the prospect list, and then I went, each position, and I sorted by rank. And then I would just take 2 to 4 players per position, from the top, and then well, actually, I really did try to aim for 2 this last time, because if you take too many recruits as you go down the list, you'll run out obviously at some point, and usually, if you're not careful, it can be like halfway through the linebackers, and then it's just hard to prioritize defense if you are unbalanced with how you add recruits. So I would stick to 2 to maybe 3 per position, and then go through the recruiting board and scout them week 0 or whatever it is when you first start the dynasty. Uh, I guess that'd be preseason, but when you're setting up your recruiting board, it'll let you do some scouting. Uh, Actually, it might even be higher than normal because I thought it had more than 800 hours for, or maybe that's Oregon I'm thinking of. But in any case, um, yeah, use up all those scouting hours to go through the list, and then what you really want to find are those green gems. Um, it's not 100% necessary. A 5-star is still, as long as it doesn't have one of the negative, the other symbol, where it's like crossed out, uh, then they're usually good. But even those players can be valuable. But it usually does mean that they have a negative development trait, or a lesser one at least. And some people say that the gem is worth like an extra star, so this 4-star quarterback with a gem is, I'm expecting to be more like a 5-star. But really, I think it actually means that that Moser will have a better development trait with the green star. It's not necessarily uh, a lot of the stats I'm finding. when I get recruits actually into the Dynasty, uh, they're pretty low level and they have really bad stamina uh, and injury ratings. So they're hard to keep on the field with the settings that I'm using. But anyways, once you're done with week one, and you'll want to offer anybody who is a gem, uh, you'll want to offer them a scholarship, which will be in the actions under recruiting. Um, and if they're not a, a gem or they're not a 5-star or at least a 4-star, then I would probably remove them from the recruiting board by hitting circle to get out of the scouting and then triangle if you're on PS5 to remove them. So far I'm looking at Moser, and I do like to check their throwing power, make sure it's at least a 90. I'm okay with an 88, but I'd rather have them over 90. Uh, Shaver, uh, Gem 4-star. Yeah, after you set up your recruiting board, you'll want to uh, add social media, DM player, and friends and family. Those three actions to begin with, because it'll gather as much information as you can on them. You want to find 3 green check marks to the right. So while I could send the house, it wouldn't gather as much information. So I want to find out what interests them so that I can set up visits and then also use the hard sell later. So once you get the 3 green check marks to the right, you'll know exactly what pitch to use. So you can just find it under hard sell, which is 40, and use that. And you can, if you really need to make up ground on the recruit, mess with whatever remainder you have for time for that position. It's based on your coach's ability. Um, Otherwise, I'd just DM player because that's 50, and most times you'll have 50 max. I have 65 in this case, so I could keep DM player and social media if I really need to make up ground on the recruit. But I got Doug Shaver for running back, Keta Pano, 4-star gem for wide receiver, Amador, 4-star gem, wide receiver. Well, they are deep threat and deep threat, but one's a bit taller. Amador is 6'3". Savoy, vertical threat. It's pretty fast for a tight end, 87. Um, yeah, so I kept this 4-star left tackle because I couldn't find a better one. And also his ratings are pretty good, so I mean only his awareness and agility are low. I guess his speed's kind of low too, but he's not a bad recruit, so I'm keeping him despite him not having advanced development. Same goes for this guard, Trinidad, a 4-star. Yeah, I have a couple of positions where I don't have I didn't keep either of the ones that I had queued, and you want to prioritize the positions that you have team needs for. So it says I need a quarterback, a running back, and they're all in red: wide receiver, guard, center, tackle, uh, defensive end, defensive tackle, middle linebacker, right outside linebacker, cornerback, and strong safety. It does also show you to the right what you have, so you know a little bit better. Really, I don't probably need a strong safety that badly, but yeah, you can look at it in depth if you want, because I also don't really need a cornerback that badly, but yeah, it adds more context. I got a 4-star Fortin, gem, Jamerson 4-star gem, Weeks 4-star gem, and Mwaga 4-star gem. Yeah, so another thing would be that you might look into the overview and see that you're behind or that you're not even on, the board. Uh, if you're in the setup recruit stage or in week one, you can pretty much ignore that and just shoot your shot. But you want to look at the top bar, that gold bar, to see how far along they are in their decision-making process. If they're in the top 3 stage, or if they're locking you out, then you're not going to be able to recruit them. And next week I'll look at the 2 strong safeties to try and figure out which one to throw some points behind. Only offered 15 scholarships so far. And another thing about recruiting uh, is that if you fill up your board, like if you recruit 35 players during the season, then you will not be able to get any transfers. And the more players that you have recruited, um, the less room you have to uh, like scout and negotiate with transfers. And you only get 4 weeks to do so, and they're very based on uh, what they're leaning towards at the beginning, I feel like. But I haven't played around with it too much because I end up pretty much filling up my board and not having any room for them. At least that's what happened last Dynasty. Another thing that I would think some people might struggle with is who to redshirt. So I pretty much just redshirt as many players as I can. I'm very liberal about which, how many players I'm selecting. I just want to make sure as many of them have a redshirt as possible because there's no medical redshirt built into the game. The redshirt rules are if they're redshirted at the beginning, then they were redshirted, but otherwise they don't get one, uh, which is a bit different than NCAA 14 with some of the mods because it would automatically give some players red shirts if they didn't play more than 4 games. So I've got this sophomore quarterback, Cade Fox, redshirted because we're going to have Jensen back up. It'll be a mess if he comes in. But if Miller Moss is out for an extended period of time, I'm going to bring Cade Fox in. And here's another thing about it. You're supposed to be able to play guys for up to 4 games with a medical red shirt, or with a red shirt, that is. But I'm not sure they have that in the game. I have yet to find out, and I need to, because that's That'd be very useful if they did actually put that in the game. So I have, yeah, so I didn't redshirt O'Neal. Because he's going to be the starter, it looks like. So there's no point to redshirting him. We're going to want to use him this year, especially since he's a junior and Joyner's a sophomore. Although they're equally rated right now, because that's 81 with morale. He's an 80 to begin with. If I do redshirt him, then I'll be down to only 2 running backs, though. You kind of want to carry 3. You can carry 2 quarterbacks. 3 is better. For running backs, you're going to want to carry 3 at least. So I'd have to unredshirt Brian Jackson in order to redshirt O'Neal. I'm just not really sure. I guess it is worth it because it gives him another year of development. It would probably upset the player in real life if you did this, but since it's a video game, you can do that. You can definitely redshirt them and they're going to be fine with it. Although they have added playing time factors and, more interaction in that way with players, so it might actually have a ramification for me to redshirt him. I guess I'm going to stick with Jackson. Uh, yeah, definitely don't want to be redshirting Branch. But all these younger guys on the bottom of the roster might as well, because they won't be seeing playing time anyways. You'll want to keep 4 wide receivers at least. You don't really need a fullback. Tight end, you're going to want to keep 3 at least. I've got 2 guys marked for red shirts. For left tackle, you'll want to keep 3 total tackles, I would say 3 or 4 between left and right tackle. So 2 per tackle position is another rule you could look at. Guards, you're gonna want 1 or 2, usually 2 per position, left guard and right. Center, you want 2. So basically 2 along the line, 2 at every position is generally good. 2 at left end, 2 at right end. Defensive tackle, you'll want 3. Left outside linebacker, you can get away with 2. Middle linebacker, you'll want 3. Right outside linebacker, you can again get away with 2. Cornerback, you'll want to carry 4. Free safety, you can get away with 2. And strong safety, you can get away with 2. You can carry 1 kicker and 1 punter. Some other things to set up would be auto subs. I don't know if I've set them up for this one. So yeah, I guess I have messed with it a bit. You'll want 1-0 for quarterback. For running back though, I'm gonna take it up to 95-90, I think. Or actually maybe 85-90. Or 90-85 it would be. For wide receivers, we're going to be a bit more lenient, I think, 85-80. Tight ends, probably about 85-82. Well, maybe 75 for and 80 for tight end. Line, though, that's going to go down to 0-1 again, like quarterback. You never want your quarterback subbed out. You never want any of your offensive linemen subbed out because it'll, well, in real life, it would mess with the cohesion of the line to have a different group in. Let's see, for defense, I think I'm going to do 85-80 on the line. Linebackers, probably 75, 80. Cornerbacks, I don't really want them subbing out like ever. Maybe a little bit. Well, let me think about that. I usually leave it at 65, but maybe 70 would be okay. And I could probably lower into 75, 70. Safety, though, you don't really want subbing out too much. I guess I'll make it, yeah, that looks fine to me. You'll want to set up your depth chart after your red shirts are in. You can hit triangle to auto reorder and let it do that. The things that you'll need to change afterwards will be, hold on, I think I want joiner starting though. Yeah, this should usually be in order. Tight end usually also in order. It's left tackle that's a problem and all along the line except for maybe center. So you'll want to take the bottom, the third entry, which is usually going to be another starter. So that's why it's a bad entry, is because they're already starting at another position. They can't back up a second position while they're a starter. Because they're, like we just talked about with auto subs, they're always going to be in, so they don't have an opportunity to actually back up another position. So you'll want to find your second best backup, or your first best if you can. So let's see. So we've got this guy looks like a starter. This guy, Elliot, is this Elijah Page? He must be starting somewhere else. He must be starting at right tackle. Oh, that's why, because we have a right tackle and at left tackle. Huh, yeah, it does like to do that. Yeah, I guess if you are wanting to uh, be more realistic, you can get your left tackle uh, back in. There might even be a position penalty for having them out of position, so you might want to do this just to be more efficient. Um, okay, so yeah, we want to now find the next best backup. We've got a starting, uh, the right tackle, the left guard, the right guard, the center. So this guy and this guy are both backups. I usually prioritize the one that can play on the side of the line that we're asking them to cover. So Quinone's left guard can more effectively play left tackle than a right guard. Because it's closer in technique to what he's used to, being on the left side of the line as opposed to the right. For left guard, it is putting Killian O'Connor, the backup center, as the backup, and that's usually preferable to a tackle, so that's fine. At center, we'll need a backup. We'll put, here, I think we can put Quinones again. A guard can typically back up center better than a tackle. Yeah, you move inward on the line, and try to stay on the line that they're used to, side of the line that they're used to, or at least the position. So guard to guard, or right guard to a right tackle, or right tackle to a right guard. So for right guard, it looks like it's right tackle Murphy, Raymond. We'll need another. We'll go with Talele here because he's on the right side, and I think I'm gonna prioritize him above Raymond. Although, so the game says that Talele is better, Raymond is worse. There is a positional difference, though. This is right tackle. Raymond's a left tackle. He would typically be better, and so you're gonna have to, I think, account for. Yeah, I think you're gonna have to account for that positional difference. That if you look at their size, Talele is 6'4", 337, and Raymond is 6'7" and 314. So he's not only 3 inches taller, but he's lighter too. That's more of a tackle. Because you at tackle will want to prioritize tall guys with long arms. So I do think I'm going to leave Raymond ahead of Talele there. At left end, it's putting the defensive tackle in. Let's get the backup left outside linebacker in. So you can get either defensive end in left end or right end if you want to get your backup defensive tackle in on this rotation. You can. But I don't want Muhammad or Bear Alexander because they're both starters. So Shelby being a backup left outside linebacker will be prioritized. Sometimes they are too light, but he's 6'5", 250. I mean, he is a bit light, but I still think he can work as maybe the third string. I don't know. I kind of want him over DJ PV. He's taller than him, and he's only 6 pounds lighter, so I think at right end we'll have him at number 2. For defensive tackle, Bear Alexander is the starter, 89. He's really good. It usually does this right, I think. You'll want to prioritize defensive tackles or bigger guys over ends. Left outside linebacker, you can put either a middle linebacker, a left outside linebacker, right outside linebacker, or either end at left outside linebacker. I think you are typically going to want to avoid using your ends at the right outside linebacker position unless the defense is like schemed for it. You can check the team scheme well, I don't know if you can in this game. Like for what tendency they prefer for each position. But well, we've got a power rusher here starting, so and typically the left outside linebacker is the blitzing one, I think. So you can use a left end or a right end here, and you'll be good. But I don't use them at right outside linebacker, and I don't even think they're an option at middle linebacker. Middle linebacker, I'm going to actually move Madden into the third spot. I don't. Roman Marchetti is 58, even with morale. So I'd rather prioritize having somebody that can actually play the position. I think I'm going to even put Shelby in over Marchetti. 58 is terrible. Cornerback. You'll want to take note of who your third string cornerback is, which is Covington in our case, because that's going to be your nickelback or your slot cornerback. He'll also be your third string safety in a lot of cases. So at free safety, we do have enough free safeties to avoid using Covington, although he would be an improvement, it looks like. But we're going to leave Beavers and Shaw, and I tend to prioritize the um, later class in if they're the same rating. So they're both 78s, but Shaw's a senior, Beavers is a junior. So this is Shaw's last year to play. I think I want to, give him more of an opportunity, even though he is behind Ramsey. So for strong safety, again, we could put in Covington, and really, um, well, in any case, we've got 3 strong safeties in there right now. Kicker, we got a kicker. Punter, we got a punter. Kick returner, now this is a bit tricky because you would think to put Zion Branch, or Zachariah Branch, that is, as the starter, just because he's a 96 overall. And it does make sense, and you can do it. But the problem is, it's a very high risk position, and they could get hurt on a kick return, which is a very low return um, investment, really, especially with the kickoff rules that college football is using right now. So I'm gonna avoid using a good player, and I'm gonna put Hudson in, because if he gets hurt, well, it's not gonna, you know, have the same impact as Branch. Now, for punt return, they often will put uh, the better player in, but again, I'm gonna go ahead and put Hudson in. That's a high risk play, and I don't want one of my best players getting hurt on something that rarely, results in a big play. Kickoff starter, I would put for the rules that that college football is using. I would say pick your weakest leg, because you want the ball to land before the end zone, so you don't, a big leg is actually hurting you in that case. But you can also prioritize kick accuracy. So for both of those reasons, I think I'm putting the punter in, even though typically, because of the motion of the kick, it is more natural for a kicker to do that job. So really, I mean, you would never really put a punter for it because it's changing their mechanics, and they can't really practice 2 different, ways of kicking a football without, making the main way that they do it uh, less effective through less practice. So anyways, let's look at slot receiver. So that's where we have Hudson. I wonder if we want to, let's see, Zachariah Branch is 5'10". He's listed as a deep threat. He's shifty. Uh, he's got good takeoff. Um, so I guess he definitely could be a slot. He's got 97 speed, 98 acceleration, 98 agility. Yeah, that guy is extremely fast. Um, I don't know. I guess it depends on how you want to run your offense. I feel like if I put him there, I'll probably end up using him more uh, than if I put him on the outside and expect him to go, you know, burn the cornerback every time. But on the other hand, I have been having pretty good success doing exactly that, so maybe not. I'm going to leave Hudson in there at least for the first game. So this is really your 3-4 end. I'm not really sure what RLE uh, is supposed to stand for, but it is the 3-4 end. And you can use a left outside linebacker for this position, especially if they're bigger. This is an edge position. I'm gonna put Shelby as the backup if he's not starting at RRE. Oh, he is. Okay, so then I'm gonna want PV back in, or maybe Madden. Well, PV's an end. I prefer an end over an outside linebacker for the 3-4 if I can. The interior will be your best defensive tackle unless you've got a end that you think is on the bigger side, closer to, you know, 275 or greater, and has a good rating there, and you just want to put him there. Sub linebacker. This is actually your, I believe your dime linebacker. So the dime backer. That would be Mascarenas Arnold for us, the 80 middle linebacker, and you can put a free safety here. But if you do put a free safety here, know that your backup for that position or strong safety, uh, the backup will come in for them in their normal position. So if you use a middle linebacker, that is their normal position. It's, you know, because like if you don't know defense, like basics of defense, you'll start out in the 4-3 or the 3-4. If you're in the 3-4, you've got 4 linebackers, 2 middle linebackers, 2 outside linebackers. If you're in the 4-3, you've got a middle linebacker and 2 outside linebackers. But in either case, you can go into nickel packaging or dime packaging. And nickel packaging means that you take away a linebacker and you add them to the secondary. And dime packaging says you take away another linebacker and add them to the secondary. Um, so you'll end up with oftentimes 2 linebackers in nickel and 1 in dime. Um, I would suppose that it's more often for the 4-3 than the 3-4. I guess in the 3-4 it would be 2 in dime, 3 in nickel, but I'm not positive. I'm more used to the 4-3. Um, let's see. So slot cornerback SL's CB. That's your dime back, or that's your nickel back actually, and they will oftentimes cover the tight end or the slot receiver. So you'll want to have your third best um, cornerback in there a lot of times, which is Covington. Unless the tendency on your better cornerbacks is a slot, which it is for Humphrey and Nicholson, so that's why they're in the slot. All right, so that's how you set up your franchise or your dynasty, I should say.